It's time. The day has come to put the suspension on the Mazda. Neighbor Nick's going to help me out with all this. We're going to put the whole suspension setup on the Mazda 5. It's the Godspeed Mono SS setup. They are true coilovers. They got the pillow ball on the top with the caster camber. They are adjustable. We're putting this whole thing in the Mazda right now. So let's get after it. Alright, we got a giant hole where the strut used to be. And over here we got the old strut and the new one. So this is a KYB XLG with a H&R lowering spring on it that was all new, and it just wasn't working right. So this is the new Godspeed coilover that we got. We've adjusted the height as much as we can here on the ground. We're going to throw it in the car and then suck up the extra ½ inch here on that threaded body. We got a little over 2 inches of threaded body in here, and we're ready to go. So over here at Neighbor Nick's getting to help out. Say hi to the viewers, Neighbor Nick.
How's it going?
Alright, we'll get this one in and then update. Alright, first one's done. Moment of truth. That's a lot higher than we thought.
Got a lot of positive camber on that.
Yeah, it does. Oh my god, that thing's like 1,000,000 miles in the air.
Yeah, it is.
What are we missing here?
I mean, it's just a stiffer spring, so it's
Yeah, but still, we set the shock body height identical to the other one. We've got 3½ inches. Alright, moment of truth number 2. That looks far more reasonable.
seems better. Still seems like it's...
Oh yeah, but it's got to settle out too.
Yeah.
At least we can work with that. The camber doesn't seem bad either. Actually, camber seems...
It's got some negative on it.
Yeah, it's got some negative on it. Where's the tape measure? We'll go... Oh, it's over here. What was this side at before? Like 2.5? Because it's fully compressed now. So like 2 now.
I think it's almost 3.
We're right at 3 uncompressed.
Cool.
Yeah, I think that'll work. Okay, so we took way too long doing this front right side, but this side was the really busted side. We had to take it back out. You saw in the first one we had too much positive camber, and it sat way too high. And since we had to take it out to adjust the camber anyway, because even though these have caster and camber adjustments, you can't get into them in here. There's no way to get in there. So we had to adjust them out of the car. And then the other problem we ran into once we got it back in is right here, the sway bar in-link mount on the stock struts, it's like 6½ inches. On these, it's like 5. So we need like 1.5 inches shorter in-links just to hook the front sway bar back up. But we're going to try to get this side in now. We got to move the brake booster reservoir on this side. But yeah, we'll try that one now. We got this one all undone. The problem we're running into is the bracket that holds the reservoir on for the brake fluid is bolted to this top bracket, which we didn't use on the other side. You can see here, because the studs that come off of these struts are way too short to do it. So we're going to have to take all this apart first and see what it looks like. And maybe fashion some other little bracket to come up off of ours to this, because this bracket doesn't bolt from the big thick one. So we'll see what we got here in a second. But it's all off, right? Alright, so we got the back taken apart. You can see the KYBs here and the H&Rs and the adjustable control arm. It looks like what we got to do is take the lower shock bolt off, then take out this upper mount, and then undo the rear sway bar, and we can pull the suspension down low enough to get those to come out. We're trying to figure out how to get these in. You can see the setup on this is they've got this adjustable perch. I think the perch goes up into the top of the body, and there might be an old perch for the stock stuff that has to come out. And then with these, trying to figure out how to do the adjuster on these. So we're working on it, but the front's done. We're working on the backs now. We got the whole back up in one shot. So, but the fronts are down and set. The thing sits a little higher than it did, but it sat way low. And I'm okay with higher for right now, and we can dial that in when we do the alignment and all that stuff. So for now, we're just trying to get the stuff on the car. All right, well, this backside's all done. We got the new shock in there. You can see the new shock mount up at the top there. New spring and spring perch. The spring perch here is actually pretty smart. It sandwiches. So this piece goes on top of the control arm. This piece goes in from the underneath, and it sandwiches it like that. So that keeps all that nice and solid, and then the spring goes in the other way around. So that's how that works on this side at least. So this side's all done. We just got to slap the wheel on and put it in. I've got this set as high as it will go here in the back. And it looks like it's going to be fairly low, maybe even lower than the front. So we're definitely going to have to do some adjustments and stuff, but for right now we're just trying to get it in the car. That's step one, just get it in the car. We can adjust later. So this side's done. I'm going to slap the wheel on, and we're going to go finish the other side. One of these shock mount studs was loose on the other side. Turns out the shop that had worked on it before had replaced it with a nut and bolt, so we had to get in here to get to it and do all that stuff, but it's out, so we're ready to go back together. We are all done in the back. It's time for the moment of truth. Hit it, Nick. That is surprisingly decent, actually. That's about where it was in the back. Yeah. You want to jump up and down on the back a little, see if it'll settle?
Oh, yeah.
Runaway spring. It's going to get the other Mazda. Yeah, that actually sits really decent.
That's a real good spacing.
Yeah, it's about even over here. See, like I thought, it's probably going to have to come down a little bit in the front to totally adjust it, but I feel like the front will settle a bit more too. I need to go drive it.
Yep.
Well, dude, we did it.
Only took so many hours.
Yeah, let's not admit the magic of editing. This will be done in mere moments. So we've got the brand new Godspeed coilovers installed on Project Mazda 5, and I am out test driving it to get everything to settle down a bit. I think we're going to have to bring the nose down just a tad. The alignment definitely needs some help, but all in all, it seems to ride pretty well. All the suspension clunks that I had before are gone, except for now you can hear the front sway bar knocking around just a tiny little bit because it's currently completely disconnected. We have to get in links that are 1.5 inches shorter than the old ones. But you can see I'm on this super fun, nice little road here that I like to use a lot for just pleasant drives. Kind of reminds me of like Gran Turismo back in the olden days. And it's handling all these elevation changes and bumps and dips with no problems at all, no rubbing with the big 18x9 Motegis on it, no problems at all. Seems to ride fairly well. You can tell it's a tiny bit stiffer than the H&Rs, but the shocks are definitely a lot more controlled than the KYBs. Yeah, I gotta say, I'm pretty happy. The shocks were obviously universal fit and, you know, kind of designed more for Mazda 3s than Mazda 5s. Some better instructions definitely would have been helpful, but you know, that being said, if you've modified cars at all or worked on cars with things like that, you know, it was fairly easy to get in and take care of. You know, so it's not that big a deal. I mean, I wouldn't do it as a rookie if you've never done any kind of suspension work before, but if you've ever played with coilovers before, if you've ever had to do some minor fabrication to get parts to fit an odd chassis, you should be able to do this no problem. I'll probably try to put together like a write-up or something like that on what all changes you need to make to just make these work for you. And I should have links in the description below of the suspension itself and anything else you need. But yeah, anyways, I think the H&Rs and KYBs are currently in the shed. And they will probably stay there until I'm absolutely certain these work good. And once I'm certain of that, I will probably sell those on to somebody else and go from there. Oh, check this out. 1944 coming. Pretty thing. Yeah, we're just cruising along on this road. We're not going 10/10 or speeding or anything like that. We're just nice little road, trying to feel the suspension out, get the springs settled down. But yeah, I think we're gonna have to bring the nose down just a scoosh. Oh yeah, it's definitely way more controlled than it used to be. So, all right, well, I think that's gonna do that for this one. Until next time, it's been Plays with Cars.